For this episode of Your City Report, we visit with Justin Erickson, Shawnee City Planner. Justin answers many of the questions about the ongoing process that we all have of turning this piece of land north of town into a multi-feature park, serving multiple sporting associations and giving all of us the opportunity to enjoy the great outdoors. We toured the land in Justin's four-wheel drive truck as it's still in its raw state, but he explained many of the particulars of the project.
Well, roughly when it was discussed several years ago, the full project was estimated at around $16 million. And I think that's probably about where we're at again today. If you look at kind of a full build-out scenario of the site, it's probably somewhere between $15 and $20 million.
Jacobs Incorporated, a company with an impressive resume in park design similar to what our community is hoping for, has been retained by the city for this initial master planning stage.
The City Commission and staff were able to go on a tour with Jacobs to some of their facilities down in Texas and look at their work and the quality of the facilities that are down there and that we're looking at here. And one of the things that struck us as well when we were down there was how much manpower it takes to run those facilities. I mean, each of those sites had probably 2 to 4 full-time individuals that did nothing but maintenance and upkeep on these facilities. A community doesn't build something like this for economic development. I think that's an important side benefit, and that's one way that you can pay for it. It's ongoing maintenance and upkeep. But I think, principally communities build these types of facilities to improve the overall quality of life for their residents. I think that's the primary focus. Certainly, we've got to look at the hard dollars, and we've got to make sure that this can ultimately pay for itself in the long run, and I believe that it will. But I don't want to lose sight of the big picture either. It is a beautiful piece of property. Right now there is no public access, and there probably won't be for some time. Individuals can get a good view from Google Earth or something of that sort. What we're hoping to do when the master plan is completed is put a sign on the property as well. It says future home of Regional Sports Complex, and we're just waiting for that kind of that marquee image from the master plan that we can put on that sign and really identify the site for the public. So certainly it'll be more identifiable in the near future.
Master planning, open to any and all citizens who would like to participate, is ongoing. When construction begins, it's likely to be completed in phases, with phase 1 including necessary infrastructure improvements and the first number of baseball and softball fields. Infrastructure would include property ingress and egress, parking, irrigation, sewage, bathrooms, all of those things necessary to make it a nice destination while we recreate.
Due to funding constraints, it won't include, probably won't include the 10 to 12 soccer fields that the Soccer Association would prefer, and probably won't include the 2 or 3 fourplexes that the Baseball Association would prefer, but I think what we're looking at is a good balance and a good mix between the two for phase 1. With respect to adult softball, that's one idea that's been thrown out there is what about adult softball? Should that be accommodated on this facility? Or as we look at other facilities that are around the city, can perhaps adult softball be located at one of those facilities? And this could be primarily a baseball complex, in addition to the soccer and the other opportunities here. And we're still having those ongoing discussions, and that's part of the reason why we need public input and why we need folks to participate in these upcoming meetings and make sure that their voice is heard.
Phases 2 and 3 would follow with more fields, continuing work towards passive recreation activities, and work surrounding the lake. It's a nice lake, and beautification efforts would be complete.
I think what we're looking at would be a combination of soft and hard trails. We've got 160 acres here, and the northern roughly 60 acres or so is well suited for that type of activity. We've got the 10-acre lake. One of the ideas that was discussed at the meeting and by the consultant was some type of amphitheater here that could be utilized by the public. Certainly the area around the lake is ideal for picnicking and trails and that sort of thing. And so I think folks, when they get up here and are able to see this, will be excited by the possibilities.
Patience is always necessary when building something as special as we hope that this place will be. Timeline for completion, is being measured in years.
Master plan will be done in approximately 3 months or so. So we're looking at fall of 2010. And then hopefully within the next 12 to 18 months, we're able to start some of the infrastructure work. We're working to try to get funding to improve West Tech Road. We're looking at ways to get water and sewer to the site. Phase 1 construction would take probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 18 months as well.
Now, summer 2010 is the time for us as citizens to engage to help build the best recreation facility we can as a community. Master planning should be complete by the end of September.
And I think as the meetings progress, what people will see is a more well-defined plan. And so, for example, the first meeting that we held, we had, it was relatively open. There were rough concepts that were thrown out there. But as the next meeting occurs and the meeting after that, what you'll see is a plan that's coming more and more together, and a design that's becoming more and more finalized, if you will. The city is in a position in the next in this fiscal year to pay off some bonds and some debt that it's carried for some time. I don't recall exactly what the bond debt is for currently that we're paying off, but overall the city is in a relatively good financial situation in terms of its overall debt load. And so one of the options for the commissioners is to take out bond funding, which would in essence be additional debt that the city would make payments on over a period of time, over say a 10, 15, or 20-year time frame. You know, I think the worst thing we could do is overpromise and underdeliver, and so I think we need to have a realistic time frame that people are already skeptical about this project, and certainly want to be realistic on terms of the time frames and the cost involved.